and welcome to Ben and Curt Till It Hurts, the culture cast caught at the crossroads of curation and castration. I'm Ben.
And I'm Curt.
And we are dealing with new equipment.
There's a lot of new changes here.
If everything sounds weird, it's because we are listening to the show through new ears. That is to say, new headphones.
Thanks, Bogo at Guitar Center Memorial Day
Bogo
weekend.
was your cashier.
Yep.
He was a Labrador Retriever.
Good boy.
He's very good at what he does. Listen, all right, Discordians, okay?
Okay.
We host everything from the Fall Leaf Jump to Magic the Gathering tournaments to the campus-wide HVZ Humans vs. Zombies game in the spring. If you want to learn to play Dungeons & Dragons, watch a movie while sipping a delicious smoothie, or duel your friends with foam swords on the quad, come to one of our awesome events.
I want nothing to do with that.
Does that sound like fun to you?
And I'll tell you exactly why it doesn't sound fun to me. You really gotta ask yourself, what type of person do you want to be? Mm-hmm. Do you want to be a person who is okay at a lot of stuff, or a person who likes something so much that they don't like it anymore because they're just focused too much on that? I'm definitely the latter. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do a bunch of different stuff with maybe if I were more interested in like making friends than just participating, like Magic the Gathering. Take that for example.
Yep.
I liked Magic the Gathering because I liked playing with the cards. I did not like that interacting with other humans was a necessary evil.
The part where you had to play a game with another warm body.
And I never played Humans vs. Zombies, but I feel like that's kind of the same thing. Like, it's like a real-life video game. Like, the fact that other people actually exist, that's, like, secondary to me. I just want the real-life video game part.
As you can tell, this week on B&C Till It H, despite what the title may have lied to you about, we are not discussing M. Night Shyamalan's 2002 film Signs. We're actually going through the Bates College club and student organization listings.
We're going back to college, everybody.
We're going back to college. We've decided, and it's all so that we can dominate the Fat Cats competitive eating club.
Yeah. You know what? I've been in an eating competition once. Mm-hmm. I didn't love it. I thought I would like it more than I did. I was in a chicken wing eating competition, and I came in second, and I didn't feel proud after. And I don't think coming in first would have made me feel much more proud. I realized I'm more of a spicy competitor. So maybe if they do competitive eating like that, but I'm not interested in dunking hot dog buns in water so I can swallow them faster.
Oh, man.
We'll have to learn more about it. You know what? We should start a band. We should start a B&C Till It H sanctioned band.
It's approved by us.
Yep.
Yeah. What are we going to do in this band?
Play music, I guess.
Yeah? Is this going to be a Bates student organization?
Yes.
Our music will only be played on WRBC.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Every week we'll have a new song. It'll be like prime time RBC. It'll be 30 minutes long.
Yep. Yes, it will.
Yes, it will. All right. Yeah, I'm committing on the air. It did it.
It did it. God.
Podcast.
I knew
That's the
it.
alarm. That's the alarm that tells us the podcast is over.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yep.
I knew I was going to do that.
Yep. All right. Curtis, how you been?
I've been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I've been good. I don't I don't know. I didn't even think about the fact that I was going to have to say something. I bought some gear at Guitar Center this weekend, including some podcast headphones and some sweet stuff for my guitar. So that's what I've been doing. I've been playing guitar with my new pedal.
Neat.
Yep. How have you been?
I've been great.
Good.
Just living it, laughing it, loving it.
Still?
Still every week.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. What have I been doing media-wise? This weekend, I watched a movie for the first time. It was called Election.
Yeah?
You ever seen this movie?
Nope.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Not to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
Have you ever seen the movie Simon Birch?
No.
I'm going to send you home with a copy of Simon Birch to watch. Anyway, what's Election about?
Election is about a high school student government presidential election. And just what happens. It's got Matthew Broderick in it. Reese Witherspoon is in the mix. A couple other people, right? Reese Witherspoon is like she is the person who you would have assumed would have been school council president. But then Matthew Broderick plays a teacher who has some bad blood against her, feels that she's not an ethical person. I believe he's an ethics teacher in the film. So he seeks to kind of bolster the chances of this other young man who had no interest in student government. He was a sports guy until he broke his leg. Then he got interest. Then Matthew Broderick kind of steers him towards student government as like, okay, well, maybe now you could do this. Ends up being this whole thing. And man, it's a pretty dark movie.
Yeah.
It gets pretty heinous in the end. And like, yes, have you ever heard of Election?
Nope.
Many people may have heard of Election and thought to themselves, how could this movie possibly be as good as people say it is? It's as good as people say it is. All right. Top to bottom, excellent movie. That's what I've been up to.
Nice.
Yeah. Plus being a dad and whatever.
I was hanging out with your daughter yesterday.
Yeah? How was she?
She was great.
Mm-hmm.
So let me think. I saw her yesterday, and I saw her the week before that. And then I think the week before that, you guys came here.
Yep.
So I've seen her 3 weeks in a row. And every time I see her, she's like exponentially bigger and like more like, I'm going to sound like a dick when I say human looking. Mm-hmm. Expressive. Yeah. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
She's very expressive, and like your wife Megan was like carrying her, and I could like, Megan was walking around and I could see your little daughter's eyes just looking all over, just absorbing everything. It was pretty cool.
She's wonderful.
She is.
Yeah, and she gets more wonderful by the day.
She was pretty sleepy when I was there. So
she's a sleepy little baby.
She was pretty into that.
Yeah, she's got a lot of dreaming to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had any dreams?
Just work stress dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing interesting to speak of. How about you?
Nah, not that I recall.
Yeah. I got to get better about journaling my dreams. I always, it takes me, when I wake up, I feel like it's going to take me a long time to write down my dreams. In reality, it's like 15 minutes.
That is a long time.
Yeah, I guess it's a long time in the morning for like part of the morning routine. But yeah, I don't know. I have to get better about that.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. That's for Ascendant Dreamcast someday.
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
God.
That's what Signs is about.
Godcast.
Yeah, this is Godcast.
We've been fighting it for weeks.
Is this why you chose this movie?
That's part of why I chose this movie, but I chose this movie because I thought it was a great way. This movie approaches an idea, I think, from a way that you and I both approach an idea. You know, it serves as a movie that is a cool alien monster movie, and then also a movie about faith and finding your faith. And I thought that it was cool. I think that I assumed it would scratch different itches for both of us. Yeah.
It definitely scratched the like faith itch for me. It's a good movie and it's one of those good movies with a double meaning in the title. Signs. It's the crop circles, but it's also the way in which the world is always throwing signs at you, at least if you look at it from like a Calvinist Protestant perspective.
I'm glad you like Signs, because I'm pretty hardline about Signs, and when someone tells me they don't like Signs, my first thought is, well, this person's just dumb. They just don't. Clearly, they just don't get it. And maybe if
David Lynch it.
Yeah, maybe if I sit down with them and pause the movie, like every frame, I can explain why it's amazing.
Now that's a good impulse, and I hope you've done that many times.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about Signs. So
people love having movies explained to them while they're watching.
Yep. So you don't miss anything.
It's making sure that you absorb it all your first run. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a fantastic movie.
So why do you think some people would not like Signs?
Well, I think there are things in Signs that are there. It doesn't hold your hand with a lot of things. There are a lot of cool things in this movie that you kind of have to put together yourself a little bit.
Like what kind of stuff?
For instance, this movie is bookended by some of the best symbolic imagery of any film I've ever seen, which I will gladly carefully walk us through today. And there's also just a lot of things kind of happen that aren't, I don't know, not beating you over the head with it. For instance, in the beginning of the film, would they find, their dog is in the kitchen and it, like, pees on the floor, and Mel Gibson is like, call this doctor, and his son is like, he's a people doctor, and Mel Gibson's like, well, he'll know what to do, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then later, when they go to Ray's house, you see on his mailbox that he is the town veterinarian.
Right.
And there's little things kind of like that, where they don't beat you over the head with it, but there are just things to pull that they're not gonna give to you.
It's a well-established situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the symbolism bookending the movie that you're interested in?
So, as the movie opens, you're looking through. First of all, I will say I am full crazy person about this movie. Mm-hmm. So some of these may be a stretch. Okay. Now, when you see the movie opens and you have you're looking through a window out onto the backyard of this house, and it looks like it should be ideal, but there's something very off about it, very uneasy.
As the camera moves, you realize you're looking at a reflection.
Yeah. And so you're seeing,
very good.
I think, the way I interpret it is you're looking through the window and seeing this, and it's almost as though if you were the character of Mel Gibson, you have what you think you want, but it's wrong. It's off. You have this idyllic backyard, but looking at it framed, it's not the artistic piece that it should be. And then it shows Mel Gibson, he's like getting up in the morning and going to the bathroom. And so he's like brushing his teeth and like taking a leak or something.
What else does he brush?
Yeah,
his hair.
So, and that's how it kind of sets it up. And next to the bathroom, there's this white wall where you can tell a cross used to hang on the wall.
Yeah, the imprint. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way I see that is, obviously it was there for a long time and now it is not. But you can still see that it was there. So if this wall were Mel Gibson's life, there's this imprint of what used to be there and be very meaningful and is now gone.
It's like if you took down all the stuff from the walls here.
Right. It would look...
it leaves an impression no matter what. Yeah.
Now, the thing that's, I think, important to note about that is that this cross did not stain the wall. The wall has gotten dull around where the cross was. So taking this cross out of Mel Gibson's life, there's not a stain where the cross was. The cross was the good thing in his life, and everything else around it has been tainted now. So that's kind of how it starts. That's cool.
It's a good character beat, too. It gives you a little intimation of what is going to be revealed later about Graham Hess's past as an Episcopal priest.
And so
pastor. I don't know if Episcopalians have priests. Pastors,
I believe it was
fathers.
Pastor.
All right.
I don't remember. Reverend. Reverend?
They say reverend a couple times.
So in this scene where he's getting ready, he's just woken up. So he's unprepared. He's dressed halfway. He's half awake. So that's just the case. I'm sorry, that might not be the best way to phrase that. As it ends, you have him again dressed in his garb with his refound faith. And when it shows the wall again, it's not like he just put the cross back on the wall and it's back. The cross is not there, but it becomes a mural of pictures of his family, which meaning that in the beginning when he had religion, that was all he had. But now getting closer to his family brought him back to God. And now, along with his relationship with God, he has room on this wall for his whole family. And it made a stronger connection than it was before.
Well, I wonder if there's anything else to suggest that before he lost his faith was all he had. I imagine it seems like he still had a good relationship with his family,
sure.
And it seems like he had a good relationship with his wife. But it might have felt disingenuous to just put the cross right back in the same place. Like, oops, yeah. I messed up. There we go. I'm back.
It's like
I'm
it
back in the
never
saddle.
happened.
The boys are back in town. So instead, what he does is he reflects what brought him back to his faith, which is his relationship with his family and the many signs and wonders that come to him through his relationship with his family as they weather this flood that comes to them during the course of this movie.
Yes. And you also have the movie kind of ends on another shot of that same window, but now the panes have been broken. So it's not just seeing this idyllic thing that is off being separated from you. The panes have been broken, light is shining in, and it's a much warmer, even though it's the same stuff that you're looking at, it's a much warmer, idyllic. He finally has what he has been looking out at. But that's my crazy person read on it. Yeah. So, yeah.
What else is good about this movie?
My favorite thing about Signs is not even something that's so much in the movie, but historically, anytime a large discovery was made about the universe, it was at odds with what the biblical teachings of the time were.
Okay.
Such as, whatever. God
evolution.
Yeah, God created everything. So if he created man, he made it in his own image, and he made everything on the earth to suit, to be there for man to use. So when you introduce ideas like, we're a planet, that, and there's not a literal hell underneath us, and there's not a literal heaven if you just go straight up in the air.
I'm not sure that that's an accurate representation of what people actually believed.
You don't?
No, I don't think so.
I was pretty sure people thought hell was literally
I can tell
under the earth.
I can tell you that the creation account in Genesis suggests that there's a vault separating water above and water below. I don't know. I think there have been a variety of different ideas people have had about where exactly hell is.
Okay. So, but, another example, I guess, would be once we were confronted with the idea that there was, planets and things in space, Earth had to be at the center of it because God created it and the sun revolved around us. And so every time we come up with a new idea, it's challenged. And I think that part of the problem with if extraterrestrials were brought in, it's if they're stronger than us, if they're trying to harm us, why would they be here? If God created us and he created us in his image, why are there things coming out of here that are stronger, more advanced, and we didn't know that they were there? Why is this happening? And I like Signs because it introduces something that may have rocked religious belief, but it presents it in a way that reinforces a person's faith rather than shaking it. And I think that's what I like about it the most. Like, I'm not even approaching it from a religious angle. I'm like, I like aliens and sci-fi. Mm-hmm. And I like that it takes those ideas and presents it in that way that you can approach it from both ways. And it's still a great movie, regardless of how you approach it and feel about it. Mm-hmm. It's just a great movie.
Yeah. It's a deeply religious movie. Yeah. Like the whole central, it's an unambiguously religious movie. It is a movie that is not about, is God real? Is he there? Is he not there? What? It's like, no, he's there.
Yeah.
And his hand touches lives in ways that if you only have your eyes open, you will see. And that the like cascading events at the end of this movie that are that sort of prove out the idea that none of this was just random hardship happening to this family.
Yeah. That
bad things happen and then God takes them and turns them in as many ways as he can to turn them towards the good. So, the asthma, right? It ends up being that the kid doesn't breathe in the poison gas because of his asthma, or he doesn't absorb the poison gas from the alien because of the asthma. The water everywhere, the little girl having that weird hydrophobia element where she just doesn't want to drink a glass of water if it's been sitting out for too long, or if something little is wrong with it.
If it has amoebas in it.
If it has amoebas in it, right. that ends up making it so that there's water everywhere in the house for Joaquin Phoenix to smack with his baseball bat when the climactic moment comes for the confrontation with the water allergic alien. I think that the aliens in this movie are interesting because they are essentially just beasts.
Yeah.
There's no redeeming quality to these aliens, and I think that's I don't know. What do you think of that? Do you think that that's a fair reading, that the aliens are just kind of monsters in this movie?
I think that's fair. What I really like about this movie is that a lot of other movies that are kind of like sci-fi alien invasion movies, it becomes very clear why the aliens are there. You know, you learn about them and what they're doing there. But this, it does a really good job of teaching you only know as much as this family that it is affecting, and you learning about it via a series of television. And it doesn't really give a lot of information about them. In fact, I really like when they're when at the end, when the final confrontation, there's like a weird amount of like shadows like covering the aliens, so it's like black instead of green, you know, and you get a better look at the alien when it's like on the crappy Venezuelan TV station, and I like that in that moment they're just demons. Like that's
them throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Well, they change color too, right?
Yeah,
they are able to shade the tone of their skin to even match specific visuals. You get some shots of the family on the alien skin that kind of leads you back to that shot at the beginning of the movie of the reflection through the mirror. So I think that one of the I do think that extraterrestrials pose a problem for a religious worldview. But I think that extraterrestrials that are essentially just monsters pose less of a problem than intelligent, sentient extraterrestrials who maybe have like their own religious beliefs that would possibly even have points of correspondence with our most advanced human religious beliefs, i.e. Christianity. That would be a big problem, right? That would be a real whomper if that were to happen. And I don't think that will ever happen. But that would be an interesting thing to explore. What's the impact that would have on a person's faith?
It would definitely, I think just for me, the existence of, I mean, that would be a whomper for sure. But I think even the existence of extraterrestrial life would kind of have to make you approach that problem, at least to ask, like, to not say, oh, this is disproving my belief, but to just say, how does this affect my belief? How can I look towards my belief to, you know, find a solution to this new knowledge, I guess.
A solution to knowledge? What do you mean by that?
A solution to the knowledge that there is life on other planets when we, to our knowledge, did not know that there was, and the reason that we are here is because we were created and put here. So how do we incorporate that things were created and put elsewhere that we have not known about for centuries? I think you could find answers with that, but I think you are right in saying that if they were intelligent, could speak, and had their own religious beliefs, that would pose more problems than just monsters from other planets. But I think that even just the existence of life on another planet prods that, you know, that topic.
I think it only does if you look at it from like a biblical literalist, fundamentalist point of view, where you think that like the Genesis account is a literal description of what happened, rather than kind of the more mainstream view that the account in Genesis is meant to be separate entirely. It's not meant to give you any scientific knowledge about the structure of creation. What it is supposed to tell you something true about man, I'm reaching the limits of my ability to articulate what I mean about this. But there is a difference between theological knowledge and scientific knowledge, and I do think that both are necessary. But of course, scientific knowledge over the last 500 years has invalidated so much of what a biblical literalist would say is true. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't invalidate what the Bible says. You just have to read it in a different way. Science is a pretty new invention.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if there are animals and monsters on other planets, then I don't think that at all challenges the view of biblical Christianity. And even I don't think it challenges that view any more than the fact that there are animals that we didn't know about on Earth at the time.
Sure.
Just wandering around,
I mean, I don't know. I wonder, though, because to me, I would think that it would have to at least make you question things because, or at least ask, did God also create these things, and why did he create these things, and what else is there, and does the existence of any life, if it was created by God, I was initially going to say make ours less significant, but that was not the right way of saying it. But if he created other things on other planets that we didn't know about for thousands of years, how does that affect our understanding of how and why we were made and in what image we were made?
Okay, I'll go real deep. I'll say some stuff I've never said before, and I'm not sure if this is I'm not sure if some great theologian, and that's not actually a word. I don't know if some great theologian has said something similar to this in the past, but in the interest of going full Godcast and just going to the limits
Godcast,
of what I've
baby.
thought, I think that the quote-unquote creation account in Genesis is what God did. But I think that it describes his process of designing. I think that then what he implemented within the bounds of the physical universe that he had created was a set of rules and limitations that would eventually result in the real existence of creation. I think that what God did was set into motion the principles of reality that would result in the existence of human beings as designed in his image. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Does it? I don't know. I have no idea. I've never said this before. So within that framework, there's nothing to stop those rules from having operated on other planets to result in some basic forms of life, if the conditions existed for such to occur. I think that the conditions necessary to produce human life are unique enough that I doubt human life was produced anywhere other than Earth. Because that's how God designed it.
Yeah.
Right?
That makes sense.
And that's kind of why I don't think that there being life on other planets challenges at least my view of what God's plan in creation was. Or is. It is ongoing.
Yeah. I don't know, because I'm not I don't have much expertise in this field, but...
You got all the expertise you need, just search your heart.
That's
all any of us can do.
Wonder, though, and I mean, who am I to try to understand the plan, if there is one?
Thank you. Always very important to acknowledge that we don't know jack compared to God, yes.
But I do wonder why there would have to be conditions. Like, why, if you can create the universe from nothing, why would there have to be conditions for humans to become humans? Why not just create the humans?
Okay, well, imagine that you are God and you are creating a universe. Do you think that it would be Imagine that you are God. That's weird. All right.
Not going to do it, Ben. You're responsible for this.
I wonder, part of me wonders if God, when he was creating the universe, if his goal was to leave as little of his own fingerprints as possible. He wanted to create a reality in which the touch of divinity was nigh imperceptible, at least directly. Then the conditions in that sphere of reality would give rise to his greatest creation, the human being, in each of which would be a significant spark of divinity, that thing that was hidden in the rest of the universe. Each human being would have a spark of divinity. Not each human being. At first, it would just be Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve each had a spark of divinity. And then going forward, the role of the human being is to utilize that spark of divinity in giving praise to God, our Creator. But it's not really praise if you just actually know for sure and can scientifically verify that he is there. It is only valid praise if given by faith. So the conditions for faith to exist necessitate that the divine fingerprints be imperceptible, or that it be possible to explain them other ways.
I don't buy it, but
that's fine.
I don't know. Maybe we should talk more about the movie.
Whatever.
Yeah. Where do we go from that?
Godcast.
Well,
you did this,
wrap
man.
It up. I didn't do it. I'd say we should talk about a cool Mel Gibson
You created
movie.
The conditions under which Godcast could occur by having me watch Signs, an overtly religious movie. A shockingly overtly religious movie. The kind of overtly religious movie that people don't make anymore. You want to know what I think Signs is really about?
Sure.
I think that Signs... And I have no idea what the inspiration for Signs was. I actually doubt that it was directly inspired by these events. But Signs, along with all the other whole crew of mid-2000s disaster movies, are all about 9/11. The terror attacks on the World Trade Center. Just September 11th, 2001. Never forget. And they are all about 9/11 insofar as they all ask the question, and Signs most effectively of all asks the question, when the world starts to crumble around us, it is difficult from within the events, from a limited human perspective, to tell exactly what has crumbled. And that's the sense you get as you watch Signs, is that the core of family life is able to continue for a long time, for days, after aliens appear in the sky. But over time, every time some new piece of information comes out, it gets a little bit closer to crumbling that family life, which is like the core. Once family life crumbles, all that's left is for your individual life to crumble. So in a way, it is a buffer for us from whatever catastrophes and calamities come our way. But that's a fascinating question to explore, I think. And I think that M. Night Shyamalan does an amazing job of exploring that. And also exploring it while giving another example of it through the flashbacks to the night Mel Gibson's wife died in that horrible, random, violent car accident. Mm-hmm. Because that's another situation where in that case, it's actually revealed over the course of several flashbacks what exactly happened. But the first time you see one of the flashbacks, you just can see Mel Gibson's face as the cop walks up to him, and you can see him wondering, like, how bad is it? How screwed up is my life now? My whole life, my whole plan that I had, everything I thought that was true about existence, what is about to change? And that's kind of the question that he faces through the whole movie. So I think that it's great to show it through both of those lenses, both through the world-changing event and the event that just shook his own personal world and the world of his family.
I appreciate with the scene, it's almost like it's funny because we've been talking about doing that fucking godforsaken Chronicles of Narnia Resident Evil series.
What do you mean talking about it? It's on the list. It is happening.
Christ.
I've decided a different thing about it, though. We'll wait till the end of the episode to talk about it.
I don't know if I can do it, man.
We're doing it. We're doing it a little differently. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to stretch the syllabus out a little bit.
So, I know that C.S. Lewis had a crisis of faith in his life, but
I truly don't know. Did he?
Yeah.
What was the nature of it?
I don't remember, but he has like letters and diaries written where he curses God.
My understanding was that C.S. Lewis experienced a later in life coming into faith. From what I've heard, the way he describes it is that through much of his early life, he thought that God didn't exist, and he was very angry at him for not existing.
See, here's how I
have not read these.
Well,
letters.
This is how I feel about that, and what I drew the connection in this movie is that Mel Gibson spends the majority of this movie trying to push away this faith that he has given up and lost his faith in this God. But similar to, I believe, what C.S. Lewis went through, he never is able to shake the fact that God is very real to him. And in the letters that C.S. Lewis wrote, there was a strong. He says he doesn't believe in God, but he's still. It still feels that he's angry at God. It's not. He wants to not believe that God is real, but he can't allow himself to do it. And I think when you have in the basement scene in this film, one of the most important things is when Mel Gibson says, "I hate you," and he comes to you come to this realization that he's never
when
been.
His son is having an asthma.
Yeah, he's never been able to let go of the fact that God is real. He's been very angry at him, and he's said, I don't want to waste another moment on prayer.
He wants to separate himself from God.
And in this moment, he realizes, or I guess you realize for him, that God has always been there, and he still believes in God. He hates him.
It's a very powerful moment.
And it is very powerful, and it opens this floodgate of... I think it's a great move on... It's very similar to the joke about how he didn't just like hang the cross back up. He's not like, oh, I'm back to it now. The first step to opening that connection to his faith again was opening back that conversation with God. And rather than saying, I'm not wasting any more time on prayer, he's speaking directly to God.
He's finally praying truthfully.
Letting him know that he hates him for what he's done. And as soon as that happens, everything rushes back into place and everything gets kind of sorted out. And I really thought that was very powerful. There are a lot of powerful moments in this movie. That just reminded me the dinner scene where they're all trying to eat their last meal.
Oh yeah.
Very hard to watch, like uncomfortable to watch.
Mel Gibson just crumbles.
Yeah, and you really feel like you see the family connection. And I also like you get these series of every time the family, they all touch each other, that's when you feel the presence of this alien force is getting stronger, trying to...
What alien force?
The aliens.
Oh.
Every time all four of them are touching, the baby monitor starts to go ape shit.
Oh,
every time all four of them touch each other. So every time with this event happening that's trying to split them apart, every time they literally touch, it gets stronger to try to push further and further, but it can't. And they learn that if they just stay together, they will not succumb to this alien force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But fucking fantastic movie.
It's a very good movie. Yeah, yeah. When did you first see Signs?
I saw it when it first came out. I was super... I thought when I saw the Sixth Sense, my fucking brain exploded.
That's a great movie.
It is a great movie. And I think I saw Signs before I saw Unbreakable.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just coming right off of the Sixth Sense, and I saw it, and then Signs is aliens. So I was obviously just like, this is gonna be sick. It's a movie about aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I've loved it straight, and like I think we may have recorded this from our pre-show last week, but a lot of people didn't like this movie when it came out, and then it felt like to be kind of like in the minority to have really liked it. And then over like the past 10 years or so, there's kind of been like, like an underground resurgence on the internet of like, actually, this movie's pretty good.
You want to know who loved it at the time?
Who?
Roger Ebert. Gave it 4 stars.
Should have guessed.
4 stars.
You love your Ebert.
I always check the Ebert review on these friggin' movies, man, because like he referred to M. Night Shyamalan. He referred to Signs as the work of a born filmmaker.
Yeah,
that he's able to take this tension and sustain it throughout the film. And you call it, like, you say that it works on the level of a monster movie, but I think that what a lot of people reacted negatively to is that it is a really, really low-key monster movie.
Yeah.
You know, people are expecting like a monster horror movie where the horror is what the monsters are doing. But the horror of Signs is watching Graham Hess try to live in a world in which God does not exist. And ultimately being unable to, because the reality, and like I think the reality in this film is that God does exist. And I would say the reality in blah, blah, real life is
the
also
reality
that God
of
exists.
reality.
I would also say that real reality is that God exists. But that's neither here nor there. I think that The Sixth Sense set up people's expectations for M. Night Shyamalan that he's going to be a twisty filmmaker.
Yeah.
Every movie he's got, there's always going to be a twist, right? And I think that the bait and switch that Signs pulls is that there's not a twist in they're weak against water as being the twist. There's not a twist in the plot. There's a thematic twist, which is that the twist is that God exists the whole time.
Yeah. God
was really there.
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the exact order in which his films came out, but
his American films were Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, then Signs.
I thought Unbreakable came out
Village.
before Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense was definitely his bursting onto the scene.
And then Unbreakable?
I believe so. I might be wrong about that, but I believe that is the case.
When did The Village fall into that?
After Signs.
Then
Lady in the Water.
Yeah.
Then The Last Airbender.
When did, Christ, what was fucking...
You praise his name, Curtis.
The one with the plants, The Happening.
The Happening? Oh, that might have been before Last Airbender, actually.
And then
But it was around... yes, I believe Happening was right before Last Airbender.
I don't know if he directed it, but he wrote the movie that took place in the elevator. Devil. I wanted to call it Hell.
It's a really good movie. I'm not sure that he either wrote or directed it. I think he kind of came up with the idea for it.
Oh, okay.
But it's a good movie.
So I think that he definitely was, I don't think it was like a misinterpretation. Like he definitely was there's a twist at the end, but I think Signs, it was a very misleading, not even misleading. The twist wasn't what, people took the water to be the twist, but as you said, that really wasn't the twist. And I think
it's also not really a twist because it's choreographed beforehand. When they're like, weirdly, they're not landing anywhere where there's water, right? Yeah. Doesn't one of the newscasts say that earlier in the movie?
I don't remember.
Whatever.
I know that M. Night Shyamalan's character makes the connection that it doesn't look like they're landing near water, so I'm going to head to the mountains, or head to the lake, rather.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think that you know what I should have watched before we did this? I should have watched the Nostalgia Critic's review of Signs.
Oh, man.
Because I believe he hates it. And I am like honestly of the opinion that if you don't like this movie, you just didn't try hard enough. Like, I hate to be that guy about it, but I'm like, no, this movie is fucking fantastic. And you need to appreciate it, or there's something wrong with you, unfortunately.
I don't know if I would go that far.
Nope, I would. I'm hardline about this movie. This is a fantastic movie. That is not an opinion. That is a fact. And I think that it gets lumped into the latter half of M. Night Shyamalan's career, which was less successful.
The latter half? You're gonna?
Well,
I think that
his first 3 movies were good. The Village
was his third movie.
We'll have to look it up. It wasn't. I will say that it wasn't a hard turn. It kind of like they got bad, but then I think for a lot of people, how should I say this? When you compare the okay ones, when you lump them with the good ones, you're like, yeah, they're not as good, but they're pretty good. But then when you let out a couple lunkers after that, your opinion of when they started to get bad shifts back a little bit. I think there's some... I don't know why my computer's taking so long to load, but all I want is the filmography. You're gonna have to cut most of this out. I'm not going to cut any of this out.
No, don't.
You people.
Oh, man. Friggin' this movie has a ton of 1-star user reviews on IMDb. So you have a busy evening of commenting ahead of you.
Ugh. Ooh. Every M. Night Shyamalan film ranked from worst to best. Man, as a guy who loves to just rank things arbitrarily, I don't like that it's such a thing now that you can literally just type in, like, fucking ice cream flavors ranked worst to best. Like,
what's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Are you asking me right now?
Yeah.
Oh my god, put me on the spot. Which one of my kids do I love the most? All right. You know I can never give you a straight answer whenever you ask me my favorite anything.
Sure. Do your best.
If you were to ask me my favorite, like, weird flavor, one of my favorite flavors is Chunky Monkey by Ben and Jerry's. But if you want a more straightforward answer, every year the first ice cream cone I get is a soft serve vanilla with crunch coat.
Oh,
that is very possibly my favorite. Wait a minute.
I like pistachio.
He directed Stuart Little. You like pistachio?
Yeah, pistachio.
Why did I just get slapped in the face twice immediately? We're saving that. He did Stuart Little. You like pistachio ice cream?
Did he do Stuart Little?
According to Wikipedia.
Man.
Wait, no. He wrote it. He wrote Stuart Little.
That's still pretty cool.
Still pretty awesome.
Still rad.
So it was The Sixth Sense, great movie. Unbreakable, great movie.
Yep.
Signs, great movie.
Yep.
The Village, okay movie.
Not a fan.
Not as good as it wanted to be.
Not at all a fan of that movie.
Yeah, no, same. And then it's just after that. It's Lady in the Water, The Happening, The Last Airbender, Devil.
You know what? I've heard, the thing that happened with Signs where people said, like, oh, I don't like it at the time, and then over time it gets this following. I've heard a lot of people pushing very subtly for a critical re-examination of The Happening.
Really?
Yeah. I've heard some people saying it's one of their favorite M. Night Shyamalan movies.
No.
Yep.
I can't.
I really have. Maybe we should watch it.
Nope.
What? Why not? Come on, Curtis.
I mean,
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
You know what I thought of, speaking of ideas you had that I don't like?
Uh-huh.
So you know how we said, we're going to do the Matrix trilogy.
Yep. Definitely. The only question is when.
I don't want to. But I think, so here's my idea. I don't know if I said this out loud or not. Did I say the party like it's 1999?
Fucking After Earth. Yikes.
On the podcast?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Okay.
Movies from 99.
So we do our party like it's 1999 with the Matrix as the last entry, and then we just go into
our
the
Matrix
second
series.
and third, and I don't want to watch Animatrix.
I'm not going to make you watch the Animatrix.
Yet.
I'm not going to make you watch the Animatrix because I don't want that to be the first anime that we watch on the show. The first anime is going to be Neon Genesis Evangelion, my favorite anime. And in my opinion, one of the only animes that people need to watch.
Look, man, Here's the thing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing.
Tell me about it. We did it on the show.
What thing?
The Thing.
Oh.
Good movie.
Oh, yeah. You know what?
Totally forgot we did that episode.
Not a great episode.
No. Nope. Not a winner.
You know what? I'm gonna. As soon as you leave today, every episode of Ben and Curt Till It Hurts
Ranked.
from worst to best ranked.
You're gonna type it into Google. You're gonna find out someone's already done it.
And I'm gonna write. Oh God, I wish we had people
Wish
that
we had
listen
that
to
kind
this
of
show.
clout.
Now, I don't remember what I was talking about. Shit.
You were gonna say something about how much you love anime.
All right, so here's the thing with things.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you don't like a thing, if you keep exposing yourself to things of that field, you'll find one you like.
Yeah.
And then once you get a trickle through the floodgates, it opens up. If you don't like extreme metal, keep listening to different extreme metal bands. You'll find one you like, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, yeah, dude, no, I love Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah, no, I get it now.
Yeah, no, it makes sense now. You develop an ear for it.
Yeah.
If we watch anime, I'll find one I like. And I love just blanket hating anime. I know that
it's very easy.
It's so easy to just be like, oh, do you like anime? I like Pokemon. That's what I like, dude. Right. Whoa! All right.
The games, the show, the cards, I don't care.
I hate you, Ben. This is worse than...
Pokemon number 1 through 151, ranked.
This is worse than Mulholland Drive.
Nothing. We're not here to relitigate the David Lynch series.
So, but that's my stance on anime. Where if we watch anime, I don't want to be a guy that likes anime. I like my just irrational hatred and bigotry towards anime and people that like anime.
I will say that I don't think that Neon Genesis Evangelion is going to be something that you enjoy.
So thanks for picking it for the show.
I'm going to like talking to you about it, and I think that you will enjoy it either at the beginning or at the end.
But
I think that
awful.
I think that on balance, it's going to be a very negative experience for us. But
why would you do that to us?
I'm just so excited. I'm gonna wait a long time. But
what is
this
it about me? What did I do to you?
You remember the David Lynch series? How that made you feel?
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait until you're ready for another one of those.
I'm not some science experiment, Ben.
You're not a science experiment, but I need to watch it again, and I need a reason to watch it again.
Subjecting me to things that you know I'm not gonna like, just to see what it does to me.
Yep. Hey, you know what? There's going to be a lot of during the NGE series.
Please tell
Godcast.
me. Oh, I don't even like Godcast. You know what though? As long as there's, I know we're going to have to do a Puppet Master series, and there's like 8,000 of those movies.
I will gladly exchange you an NGE series for a Puppet Master series.
We also have to do a Tremors series.
Tremors I'll do for free.
Tremors, those are just good movies.
Those are just good movies.
Just good.
Maybe we alternate NGE. Maybe we figure out a way to divide the Neon Genesis series up into enough installments that it will fit with the 8,000.
How many installments is it going to take?
It's got 26 half-hour episodes plus a movie.
Oh, Ben.
The movie's really good. It's one of my favorite movies, Curtis. End of Evangelion. Man. Evangelion? I don't know. Whatever.
I'm not Japanese.
It's fine. All right, that's enough talking about the future of the show.
The
far-flung future of the show. We should
talk about the movie that we said we were going to talk about.
Do we have anything else to say about this movie?
Not really.
I firmly believe that it is true that God sends you signs and wonders for it right in front of your very eyes for you to see, if only you keep your eyes open for them. I firmly and truly believe this, and I have had experiences that cannot be explained any other way. And Signs appeals very much to that part of me.
I think aliens are cool, and Signs appeals to that part of me as a moviegoer who likes aliens.
I don't think the aliens are that cool in Signs.
Man, they're pretty cool.
They're all right.
They're pretty cool.
What do you like about the aliens in this movie?
They're scary.
Yeah, all right.
Every time you see an alien in Signs, it's terrifying. When he looks out the window and he sees an alien standing on the roof of the barn,
Yep.
terrifying.
That's a good moment.
When he's walking through the cornfield and he sees the little leg shimmy into the corn, terrifying. When when they're watching the video, and you're not even, they show the little Vamonos when they show the little birthday party. That is so terrifying.
It's so funny when he yells Vamonos at the screen.
Like, you are seeing, and maybe this is just my weird hang-ups about aliens, but I witnessed this. You're not seeing an alien. You're seeing a guy seeing a video of aliens making funny jokes, and when that alien jumps out and there's that big swell with the boom, and when it jumps out of the bush, terrifying. And every time you see aliens in this movie, it's a different way, and it's super scary.
Mm-hmm.
Great movie.
Very creative.
But, yeah, so I think the aliens are cool.
I think everything surrounding the aliens is really cool.
Yeah.
I think that everything surrounding the aliens serves to buoy the moments where the aliens are actually shown. I think that the moments where the aliens are actually shown are done very well given the time this movie was made and the budget that it was made on.
Yeah.
But I think that if you go into this movie expecting really cool aliens and kind of prime yourself to ignore everything besides the aliens, which I think a lot of early audiences did, you'll probably have a bad time. Because it's everything surrounding the aliens that makes the moments with the aliens so impactful. And that's the true master stroke of this movie, I think. It's magnificent.
I think one of the most powerful moments in the movie is my favorite part. I think the scariest thing when I was a kid and I was watching it as a 13-year-old that wanted to see scary aliens, it was definitely the leg. Picking up the flashlight and just seeing the little leg scoot into the cornfield. But watching it now, how Mel Gibson, I don't know, I see it more as an adult now. And so when you're a kid, you see the monster and it's very scary, and then he runs away, and then there's no more scariness, But watching it as an adult, I see him run away, and then he gets back to the house. He has to gain his composure, and he goes inside, and his kids are like playing and while they're doing the dishes, and Meryl's watching TV or something, and he just sits at the kitchen table trying to just process what he just saw. And everybody around him slowly starts to notice that he's not okay. And then they're like, "What's up?" And he's just like, "Let's turn on the TV." I think that is one of the most chilling, having to acknowledge this. This isn't just like the fucking whatever boys playing pranks on him. I think that's one of the scariest parts in the movie as an adult, and I think that it very much is true. What your point about the things around the aliens are what make the aliens so scary. But I think it's a fantastic movie, and I would watch it again tonight because I watched it last night and I just loved every minute of it. And everybody out there, M. Night Shyamalan, I know you're listening. Great job.
Good job, man.
Everybody else that isn't M. Night Shyamalan, if you don't like this movie, I think less of you now.
I'm going to say that I think that M. Night Shyamalan's career is going to be better regarded in retrospect than it perhaps was at the time.
Yeah.
I think that maybe we should just straight up do an M. Night series.
I don't want to do that.
Long, dark M. Night of the Soul.
M. Night, man, I don't know. I mean, you can reevaluate some of his movies, but I think he's made some clunkers, man.
Maybe, but the thing is, like, there's a certain hype cycle that some filmmakers get caught in, and it's rare for a filmmaker to make an irredeemable movie or a movie that has no redeeming qualities. I think that is very rare for any movie to have no redeeming qualities. I think that The Lady in the Water is friggin' crazy, right? Like, film critics are the villains in that movie. But that seems to have been a true expression of what M. Night Shyamalan was feeling at the time. And what do we come to film for if not true expressions of what filmmakers are feeling and thinking? I don't know. I think maybe we do an M. Night series. I think the really tough one would be Last Airbender, because Last Airbender does not seem to have come from the heart in any meaningful way.
Yeah,
that maybe
was his Dune.
That maybe is his own. Yes, Dune. That was his movie where he realized, like, I can't do this. I can't be a director for hire.
Yeah, I'm not here to make summer blockbusters.
I'm not here to make other people's movies.
Yep. I don't know why I object. We're just gonna do it anyway.
Find something that you can exchange me for it.
I will.
Yeah. We'll get real. We'll start trading. We'll start bartering on this podcast.
Yo, I'm glad you gave me Tremors as a freebie, because
Tremors is great. I'll go straight. I'll go series on Tremors.
We're gonna have to watch the TV season, the low budget sci-fi.
I didn't make you watch Twin Peaks for the David Lynch series. I could have.
I could have. And I think we're gonna have to. I'm sure that the pilot, the Kevin Bacon pilot, will leak. We'll have to incorporate that into the Tremors timeline.
Keep talking. I'm just, there's been a remake series of the Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Is this just going to turn into us spitefully throwing...
It's a series of films. Maybe that's what this whole podcast should be.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'll figure out a way to get those movies in the mix. They've only been released in Japan. Ugh. There's no dub available. Only the subtitles.
Yeah, and I can't think anyone cares enough about it to make shitty fucking subtitle version that I can download. That definitely doesn't exist.
A lot of people care about NGE, Curtis. A lot of people care about it even more than I do.
That's what I'm saying.
Are we ready to wrap this up?
Yeah, please.
Wrap this sucker up before I keep laying on more and more Japanese animation.
Man.
I do think that maybe something in just by way of housekeeping, I think it might be an interesting thing to kind of shift this podcast into, like, sometimes being a back and forth of, like, all right, Curt picks something this week, Ben picks something this week, and we keep kind of going back and forth.
Yeah,
like that. It might be interesting to have at least segments where we do that, just so one person isn't picking something all the time.
Yeah,
and like maybe if there's something that I care a lot about, like a David Lynch series, then it wouldn't be every single week we're watching a David Lynch movie. It would be like, all right, Ben's week for 4 months is a David Lynch movie, but every alternating week it's Curt's week, and he gets to pick whatever he wants.
I almost died during the David Lynch series.
It was that hard on you?
It was a weird time. Plus, we did it in like the winter, so it kind of like my head's already not in a good place.
I hope you learn never to tell me that you like something, because as soon as you told me you liked Eraserhead, the doors opened in my mind. So hopefully you've learned your lesson.
Stop liking things.
Just don't like things. It's dangerous. You never know what Ben's going to do.
I know. And look at the curveball I was thrown today. I pick a cool movie about aliens, and we start laying on slabs of anime and Godcast, and now it's just, what do I even have anymore?
You never know how God's going to take whatever you do and twist it.
Yep.
He's going to twist it towards good.
You're God in that analogy.
No. I am a vessel.
Yeah, don't put this on God. You're doing this. This is you.
I am a vessel for God's will.
Do not put this on God.
At my best. At my best, I enact his purposes in the world.
And at your worst, you make me watch Mulholland Drive.
No, God wanted me to make you do that. He told me. I prayed hard about the David Lynch series.
Please help Curt get through this. Don't let him quit before we get to Mulholland Drive.
Don't let this podcast end. Well, please let this podcast end.
Yeah, what do we got? I know what we're doing next week.
I know what we're doing next week, too. I don't know whose week we're going to consider this.
This is fine. This is a gimme.
Let's consider this my week, because then the week after that, we got Death to Smoochie. And then after that, we start the Resident Evil Narnia series. Man, all right. Now, at this point, my weeks for about 2 years are going to be...
I don't know if I can do it.
Well, okay, last time we talked about the RE Narnia series. I don't think I had a name for it. I'm still working on it. B, I was saying we would read a book every 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
Nah. We're going to read a book every month, which means that half of a book every 2 weeks.
This is going to take a year?
A year plus.
Oh
right?
my God,
because it's 14 books, 7 Narnia, 7 RE. But do you think that's doable? A book a month?
I don't want to read a book a month.
What about a book every 2 months?
I cannot do 2 years of working, chipping away at shitty S.D. Perry novelizations and children's fantasy books.
What? Please. I really want to. But it wouldn't just be those. I'd be picking other things and peppering them in, and we'd just be checking.
We could be watching anime while we do it.
We'd be watching Neon Genesis Evangelion.
You can hate your life from all these different angles.
No matter what. All right. Are you prepared to commit to the alternating weeks schema?
Look, Ben. If this podcast is you going to be making me take things I like and making me hate them, I don't got a lot of room for that.
Don't pretend you weren't the one who bought those Resident Evil books.
Look, man, I bought them when I was like 15.
Yeah, but you still bought them. That was still Curtis.
I loved Eraserhead. I watched like 8 times this winter.
Yep.
And now I haven't watched it since Mulholland Drive. I can never remove.
I'm a thing ruiner.
I can never remove my thoughts about David Lynch from that movie. Don't make me hate Resident Evil. Don't make me hate the Chronicles of Narnia.
But wait a second, though. Wait a second. You never answered my question.
What was the question?
Are you willing to commit to the alternating weeks schema? Because I think it plays into the title as well. Ben and Curt till it hurts. Sometimes it's got to hurt. If it doesn't hurt sometimes...
It's not supposed to hurt us.
If it doesn't... Yes, that's exactly who it's supposed to hurt. What did you think this was about? Who else
audience.
is it going to hurt? What audience?
We're hurting the audience.
I can tell you, book club podcasts right now are huge. There's a book club podcast about Ready Player One that is garnering hundreds of listens. All right? So, all I'm saying is that I think that if we have a podcast where we read the Chronicles of Narnia, and we read the Resident Evil novelizations, and we read the entire Animorph series, and we read Goosebumps, all right? All I'm saying is that I think there's an audience for that. Well, there's already Goose Buddies, which you are well aware then. You are well aware of the appeal of the book club podcast.
I mean, Goose Buds is a good show.
Goose Buddies.
But...
All I'm asking is that you read 14 books.
14? Like, all I'm asking is that you
half of which are excellent.
That's
half
strong.
of which are actual dog shit.
Okay, so here's the thing about that.
All right.
Half is a bold statement. I've never read every Chronicle of Narnia book.
Uh-huh.
I am not going to say that I have good faith that the 6th and 7th Chronicles of Narnia book are as good as the first one.
Why not?
I think that's just the nature of how things work.
C.S. Lewis was a genius writer, though. He was at least an extremely gifted writer.
I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough ride.
But can you commit to the every other week alternating? You still have not done this. Where you have control one week, I have control the next week. You control the horizontal and vertical one week, I the next week.
I don't know if I can commit to that. I mean, I don't want to have full control over the show. I like the idea in the sense that I like that we're co-pilots to this ship. But if you want me to promise that I can promise that I'll read 14 books over the course of 28 weeks,
separate it from that. Not 20. No, not 28 weeks. We're not reading a book every 2 weeks. Okay, that's simply not happening. That's not happening for me either. Like, I read a book every 2 months at this point. Long books. Big books, but, Don't separate it from... I will figure out a tempo that feels right, okay? But separate it from the book club angle. Can you commit to alternating weeks?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Okay, all right. We'll read a book every 2 months. Maybe we read a book every month and a half.
I'm just... Because you know what's going to happen? If push comes to shove, it's not going to be, I really hated every minute of reading this book, but I did it. It's going to be, I just didn't fucking read the book. That's where it's going to go. And I don't want it to have to go there. I don't want to make this promise that I know I can't promise to keep.
We're not making the promise yet, okay? Let's We'll play it by ear.
Are we gonna Chrono Trigger this series?
No, we're not gonna Chrono Trigger it. Now the thing with Chrono Trigger is that it's harder to. Video games are harder to schedule, just because they take varying amounts of time, usually a lot of time, and they're not easily separated out into chapters in the same way that books are. If I say, Curtis, can you read 30 pages of this book? Would you be able to do that?
Ben, I hate this.
Can you
I
commit
hate every
to reading?
second of this.
That's why we need to do it, is the thing. The thing that you need to find most will be found where you least want to look. You least want to look between the covers of a book.
I least want to look down my life as a book club podcast where I have homework.
And it's not a full book club podcast. We have homework every week, right? Sometimes watching these movies is homework. Okay? The David Lynch series was homework. This is going to be easier than the David Lynch series.
No. Mm-mm. No, sir. I can watch a movie I don't like. It's 2 hours of one night.
You can read a book you don't like.
It's more than 2 hours of one night.
These are slim books. They're children's books.
They're children's
like
books.
you said.
But that means they're not easy to read. That means they're...
It means they don't use words that are too big.
Right, but that doesn't mean that they're easy to read in the sense that I will enjoy reading them.
Yeah, but it does mean they're easy to read in the sense that, like, the sentences aren't going to be crazy and there's not going to be all kinds of weird plot stuff to keep track of.
That's not what I'm afraid of.
What are you afraid of?
That I'm just not going to want to read
You're afraid
these
that
books.
you're not going to like it.
And I'm not going to like these books and not want to read because of my natural inclination to not really read that much.
Well, but do you think that's a natural inclination, or do you think it's just a habit you've fallen out of? Or do you think that it's a habit that you've never tried to develop?
No, I've read more in the past.
You have at times been a reader.
I have at times been a reader.
Well, why'd you stop?
Because I had to read like 30 books in my senior year of college. Mm-hmm. And after that, I have never been able to enjoy reading in the same way.
What, were they history books or what?
They were psychology books and history books.
Yeah, that sucks.
I had a senior SEM class that was a book a week on top of a series of history classes where I was reading academic papers about the Cold War every week. My whole senior year of college was just reading.
It's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like that. We'll schedule that out so that... Do you think you could read 10 pages...
You're bargaining with me.
Do you think that you could read 10 pages a day?
I don't know.
Do you think you could find the time?
I think I can't make any promises regarding me and reading. That's where
I feel like it's difficult for you to separate this from committing yourself to 14 books. I'm saying, what if I said the next thing that I want to do is I want to do The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. All right? And I want to do it over the course... I want to do it separated over 2 episodes, which would separate it over the course of a month. Right? 2 of my episodes. I want to do half of it the first. I want to do the other half the second. I don't know exactly how many pages that book is, but it's not crazy, you know?
Sure.
You would be able to do that?
I can try.
Over the course of a month, you could read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
I could try. Ben.
All right. Okay. That's all I'm asking. I don't want you to look at this as like this is not necessarily the year-long project, because at any point it could just... I'm not looking at it like an endurance run, you know? Mm-hmm. I want to break through this reading barrier a little bit.
I don't trust you.
You shouldn't. There's no reason for you to trust me.
With the phrase, give you an inch, you take a mile? I feel like that's what we're getting into here.
I have no idea if talking about books on this podcast would even be good. Mm-hmm. If it turned out it wasn't good, we wouldn't keep doing it. But what if it turned out it was good? You know, what if it turned out that it was what we've been looking for the whole time?
Do you feel that might be the case?
I don't know.
I think we might have different goals.
I want to find out.
Why does it have to be Resident Evil?
Because now that's a very good question. It's because
there are 7 of them.
I'm glad you answered. It's because there are 7 of them. I was looking at your collection of Chronicles of Narnia books, and my eyes happened to wander over to the collection of Resident Evil books, and it felt like a sign. I don't know why God wants us to do this, Curtis.
I don't know if we can keep giving this to God.
I don't know why God wants me to embark on this journey, but I know that he must have a reason.
Man.
I feel like we've gotten some good work done here. All right. What are we doing next week?
We're listening to some songs.
We're listening to 2 songs.
Posse cut. We've said posse cut a handful of times.
Yep.
Without having said what that means or what they are.
Here's what I want to give you some homework. All right. To start us to kind of get the gears turning, because I think that one of the things this show lacks sometimes is a bit of structure outside of the time of the show, or gimmicks or hooks. Okay. I want us both to commit ourselves. All right. We're going to shake hands after this. I want us to commit ourselves to listening to both of these songs every night.
Every night?
Every night, starting tonight, ending next Tuesday before we record again. All right? Every night, we'll listen to these songs back to back. Triumph first, The Last Huzzah second, in chronological order of their release. And then
Wouldn't it be fair to alternate, just for the sake of... I mean, what if you get burnt out by the time you get to the end of The Last Huzzah? It leaves a bad taste of The Last Huzzah.
Okay. And there's other stuff we need to hash out, too.
Today?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, because we're going to have to hash out exactly how we're doing this. This is all great material for the podcast,
great.
by the way.
Maybe we should end and then we'll do this.
All right. So we'll end, but everybody know that there will be more rules to come.
More rules, more homework.
Yep.
More reading.
Yep. You can listen to the show on iTunes. Please like, rate, and subscribe us on iTunes.
Follow Ben and Curt Till It Hurts on Twitter. Follow Curt on Twitter and Instagram.
It's at Ben_and_Curt on Twitter for the show, and that link is also in the iTunes description.
Yeah, Curtcake 5K on all your favorite social media outlets for me.
Mm-hmm. I have a personal Twitter, but I don't link it. I'm
going to give you know what my revenge is going to be?
What?
We're going to do the Wu-Tang Clan anthology.
I can commit to one album a week.
I have 100 Wu-Tang
I'll do
Clan
it.
albums.
If you want to take up 100 weeks, if you want to take up 100 weeks of your time, if you say, listen, you know what? I love doing the show. I just don't want to come up with something new every week, every other week rather. And you just say like, all right, just start plugging away. Start plugging away at them. I'll gladly do that. That is your time. And I will come up with good stuff to say about them.
Man, maybe you're just a better person than me.
I'm trying to... A rising tide will lift all boats, and we're lifting this podcast right now. Mm-hmm. Every time we add a little bit of structure, every time we figure out a new angle to take on this, we're lifting this boat. Or we are allowing the waters of the Holy Spirit to lift the boat.
Or we're just filling the ship with too much and it's sinking.
I'm at the side of the boat. I've got a bucket. I'm taking water out of the ocean and dumping it in the boat. And you're saying, Ben, what are you doing? And I'm saying, God told me to do it, Curtis.
Ben, you're hauling fish out of the water and you're like, this is good. Look at all these fish I'm catching. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, Ben, these fish are weighing the boat down. Mm-hmm. We're going to sink.
Mm-hmm. That's why we got to start eating them. All right. We're going to start cooking the fish on the campfire that I built in the middle of the boat.
Uh-huh. So you're setting the boat on fire.
I have set the boat on fire.
Your solution to this is we're going to make a fire on the wooden boat.
My solution is we need to make a fire because how else are we going to cook all these delicious, tasty fish? Are we done?
I think we have to
This has been a great podcast, Curtis.
This has been...
Thank you.
Has been something.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yeah, we'll be back.
We'll be back next week.
Next week, we'll be doing a comparative analysis of Wu-Tang Clan's Triumph versus Mr. Motherfucking Esquire's the grand finale.
The Last Huzzah Remix.
The Last Huzzah Remix. The grand finale is an NWA song. I apologize.
Do yourselves a favor for the Last Huzzah Remix, the ideal version, and you can come up with one for Triumph, but the ideal version of the Last Huzzah Remix is to go on YouTube and watch the music video.
I would say that the ideal version of Triumph is not to watch the video because I think the video is a distraction from what the song is.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
We done?
See you next week, everybody.
Oh, man, I lost the song. I'll have to add it in post. I'm going to cut all this out.
Yeah.